Today I'm taking a look at the Storm Arena Sagat from Street Fighter Alpha 3 by Storm Collectibles. I told myself before I open this figure I have to play through arcade mode in Street Fighter Alpha 3. It seemed like a good enough time as any to bust out the old hitbox and see if I still got it. I did in fact no longer have it. I originally bought the hitbox to play Kazuya in Tekken 8 as doing Electric Wind God Fists on a pad was hurting my hands. Don't think too highly of me using a leverless controller, that's the highest rank I ever got. It's very low. Yes! Once I hit 3 electrics in a row, I was feeling dapper enough to start up Street Fighter Alpha 3. This version is on the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection on PS4. I never got to play this game as I was still a warbling baby when it released in 1998. Immediately, I love the art, I love the music, and I love the sprites. I like being able to go back to old media and be completely immersed in a different time. I don't know how to play Street Fighter other than basic fighting game knowledge, and that doesn't mean fundamentals, that means I know how to do a quarter circle. The first thing I did was start up training mode and check out those buttons. I love how big his limbs are. Specials were a bit tricky at first on the hitbox, but I felt consistent enough to start playing arcade. Sagat is known as the Emperor of Muay Thai. The scar on his chest serves as a reminder of his defeat to Ryu and his Shoryuken. He fights for vengeance alone, but he's begun to realize that the power of hatred is limited. Everything I know about Street Fighter's story is pretty much secondhand, but it seems like our Muay Thai pirate doesn't like Ryu very much. I was feeling pretty good about the first match. I was utilizing Sagat's long normals, I DP'd on reaction twice, I actually got a super out. This didn't seem like it would be too bad. Look at this specimen of a man. Roses are red, violets are blue, your flesh is soft, my fists are invincible, realize your agony, love Sagat. The next match, I got utterly destroyed by Chun-Li. Putting in another quarter, I got destroyed again. My strength must have been something you weren't ready for. No, I wasn't ready for that, no. It's hard to articulate how difficult it is to retrain muscle memory for a new controller. If it was just beat arcade mode, I would buckle in, but I'm also struggling to just remember my buttons on the hitbox. And I've got a rabid Chinese lady putting me through the ringer the entire time. Did you just give up, you might say? Brother, I am Silver 1 in Street Fighter 6. At this point, I just opened the figure. I was quite impressed by the Storm Arena Ryu and Baki. I really felt like the value was there for $30. Of course, Sagat here was $35. While I'm indifferent to boxes, it looks decent to me. I like that the box insert is Sagat's stage, that's pretty neat. I do like holding a figure right out of the box and thinking, this is a cool action figure. Not much in the way of accessories, but there's not much else you want Tiger Man doing anyway. I got the sprite sheet online and attempted to recreate some of those poses. Just ignore that I'm not on the player 2 side to get the eye patch on the correct eye, and the angle of the scar. This figure doesn't have sharp elbows to recreate the standing jab. I thought elbow strikes were kind of a big thing in Muay Thai. I was doing my best to get the entire body to turn away based on the front of the shorts on the sprite. The neck doesn't allow the head to sort of sit on top of his shoulder. Standing fierce, the limbs don't have the lankiness that Nick Fury's sprites have. Look how crazy long that arm is compared to the figure. Close strong was another case where I couldn't get the head closer to the shoulder. Attempting stand medium kick was putting all this figure's flaws, I suppose, on display. The ab crunch isn't quite deep enough. There wasn't enough movement for me to recreate this flat part at the top of his back and shoulder up to his neck and head. The angle was thrown off, but I was able to balance the figure on one foot. Obviously, Patchy the Pirate is in the middle of a kick, so he's leaning forward and doesn't hold this pose. I just think it's neat that it can be balanced on one toe bend. So, is the articulation on this figure any good? Yeah, I'd say it's pretty decent. There's a few gripes. You're welcome to say there's user error on my part in recreating some of these poses. A deeper ab crunch and some neck movement would help add some extra oomph to poses, but this figure is really easy to handle, which is huge for me. I do quite like Storm Collectibles though, so I do have a bias. As I was writing the script for this video, I felt I still had some things left unfinished. I needed to go beat that arcade mode. Things were going to be different this time around. For one thing, I'm going to drop that difficulty to 4 instead of 5, and I'll just use a pad instead of the hitbox. Little did I know, I was going to need every advantage I could get. Birdie went down first try. Dalsum took 3/4. I still don't really know what happened there. I wasn't the slightest bit worried. I also don't really know what happened in this next match against Rolento, but I got it first try. Chun-Li, yeah, that was rough again. I clearly don't have some fundamentals down, like any kind of basic combo. I'm struggling to get supers out consistently on the PS5 controller. Yeah, I'm doing a raw super, but normal's just whiffing over her head absolutely sent me. Still, got it done after 6 quarters. Pathetic. Will you now beg me for your worthless existence? Because I canceled that pre-order. Our 5th opponent was Dan. I wasn't expecting the mid-arcade mode story. Wait, you killed my father?
Are we the baddies?
You know, I'm starting to suspect Sagat might not be a good guy. I knew Dan was the joke character, but I wasn't expecting a freebie. Sagat still had to laugh in Lil Bro's face, though. I can't bear to watch. He's just like the way I was. I need something. Something other than hatred. Our 6th fighter was Adon. This intro is sick. This guy seems cool, but both that shriek and jumping all over the screen were hard for me to deal with. I can't get over this face, dude. It wasn't until this point that I looked up what the isms actually were on the character select screen. X-ism was no air block and take more damage, but you deal more damage. A-ism is a more classic playstyle, and I think V-ism is cracked if you know the combos. They weren't helping me. I went back to A-ism because I already know all about that one, I guess. It finally clicked that Adon is so aggressive I could just DP everything. For the viewers at home who don't know what a DP is, it's an abbreviation for Dragon Punch or Shoryuken, which started with Ken and Ryu. It's used as an anti-air with some kind of invincibility on startup usually. I had trouble inputting it consistently on the controller, but it still ended up working out. Beat on my 13th attempt. The 7th opponent was Cammy. I didn't have a real game plan or anything notable here. It came down to the wire in the last match though. It was my 3rd quarter. I never really figured out how to deal with the grab because I was moving on to Honda. I believe I saw some weird trivia a long time ago that Honda always moves forward. I was able to keep catching this dude's toes. I was struggling by wanting to always hold back to block and walking myself into the corner, but I got it in my 5th attempt. What's this? What have you done to Ryu, Bison? What are you waiting for? Isn't this what you wanted? I charged Ryu with psycho power to make him stronger. This is everything you could have asked for. This was my hardest opponent by far. I don't know if the computer for you is different on this stage in arcade mode compared to the actual playable character, but I was struggling a lot. My brain is on the fritz just trying to block and get my specials out. Half of my fireballs were supposed to be tiger uppercuts, and half of my uppercuts were supposed to be fireballs. As soon as I hit player 2's side, I completely folded every time. It happened in a lot of matches leading up to this point, but was never this severe. I couldn't grab after a Hadoken in the corner as it pushed him away from me, I'm guessing. There was no time to punish after supers, which sucked. Losing the chip damage sucked. On my 10th attempt, I finally got one round on him. You should know, dear viewer, I am also susceptible to the phenomenon known as gamer rage. I was livid, fuming, grunting, growling, hooting, hollering. An innumerable amount of expletives were exhaled, inhaled, and tossed about. I thought Big Boss might be going a bit overboard wanting vengeance, but now I felt it in my heart with him. Screw this Ryu guy. I'm gonna punch him in the face. But maybe there was something else. Maybe vengeance isn't the answer. What has Sagat's story until now been trying to tell me? The power of hatred is limited. I need something other than hatred. I need something other than hatred. I needed to calm down. I needed to focus.
Nobody blink! Triumph or die!
Oh, Ryu, you fuck! The answer lies in the heart of battle. Oh, I found my answer alright, buddy. I would say nothing clicked for me other than luck. If I counted right, my 34th attempt sealed the deal. Yes, the fool of a person that is myself skimmed through the footage and counted. And only now remembered that my quarters, so to say, are at the top of the screen at the end of the score. It was actually 38 attempts. It was close. Very close. Finally, I had arrived. At him. Bison. Did you really think I would appreciate this? I wish to fight Ryu when he uses his true power from within. I have no need for your tampering and cheap tricks. Ha! Then perhaps you'll never be a great fighter after all. Your pitiful pride will lead you to your own destruction. I'll show you your weakness. Let's do this.
Face it straight!
Wait. What? That's it? I can't put in another quarter? I checked to see if maybe the game had save states, but that didn't seem to be the case. I hadn't utilized the save feature a single time since I started playing because I could just retry after every fight. This ending is pretty crazy, at least. If you told me a statue of the Buddha was going to turn into a Terminator, shoot a laser into space that bounces off of a satellite to destroy a city, I would probably ask you to show me right away because this is bananas. I can't say I was expecting Sagat's stage to show up. Well, that was rather anticlimactic. Back to the figure, I guess. Ryu has now defaulted to a punching bag for the foreseeable future. I was having a bit of trouble getting the fire effect on the big man's leg. Majima's leg catches fire in his level 3 super for Tiger Raid. I guess this figure really was designed to be on the player 2 side, seeing as it's the right leg and all. Going by art of Sagat and Street Fighter Alpha 3, if you're basing the figure off of these designs rather than the in-game sprites, I think it's pretty good. I liked this Ryu figure quite a bit, but I've gotta say posing Sagat beating the snot out of him is rather cathartic. But there was still something missing, something left incomplete, something gnawing at me. Later that night, I couldn't help but feel like I needed to do more. There was a monster out there that needed to be stopped. I needed to go back. I needed to finish what I started. I needed to take down Bison. Saving before Bison's fight was absolutely necessary. There was no way I could beat him on my first try. Having already beat arcade mode up to Bison, should I not just make a save after every round I won? Would that not make it much easier? It made sense to me. It still wouldn't be easy, but it wouldn't be nearly as difficult this way. But then, a great and terrible thought came to me. Did I want to make it fair, given this newfound power of saving? Did I want a clickbaity title for this video? No. The misery I knew I was inviting upon myself was simpler and far more conceited than that. I wanted to know. could I do it? It was pride. I increased the difficulty to max. Your pitiful pride will lead you to your own destruction. I proposed the infinite monkey theorem. A monkey with a typewriter could produce the works of Shakespeare given an infinite amount of time, but this is not a monkey. It's a great ape. A chimpanzee, to be exact. I have a great respect and a deep fear of chimpanzees. Saving the game allows for one possible future out of many. I know that well before the works of Shakespeare could ever be produced, a chimpanzee is gonna bash that typewriter into someone's skull. So Bison better put on a hard hat, because I'm that chimpanzee now. I somehow got the exact same seed of fighters. I can't really say whether this was good or bad. Now, this was one of the stupider ideas I've had. Ever. For one thing, I don't even know a basic combo. I really thought saving would give me more of an advantage, and it does, but I still need to actually beat my opponent. Just because I have a save state after the first phase of the boss doesn't mean the second phase is easier. I mean, it is, because I don't need to complete the first round as well, but you get my point. I may have overestimated my gamer abilities. It's absolutely one of the hardest things I've ever attempted in video games, but I also don't have intimate knowledge of the game, hence why it was a stupid idea. Also, aren't arcades designed to take as many quarters from you as possible? Here's my time in minutes for each fight up to the man in red himself. I did actually go back to the hitbox to make inputs a little more consistent. My muscle memory was getting a little bit better. But even then, I was far too optimistic. Bison was an absolute menace. Guy didn't need to bring a hard hat when he can turn himself into a rocket launcher. Or Hadron Collider, this damage was insane. My inability to play on the player 2 side was a huge weakness. It's like Bison knew I couldn't function as soon as he got me over there. I want to call it unfair, but I was also stupid enough to be attempting this in the first place. Was there counterplay or specific strategies? Certain things I should be doing better? I don't know. I mean, most definitely there was, but I didn't know what they were. Knowing this was going to be difficult going in doesn't actually improve my odds, believe it or not. I didn't know if the save state would save my progress if I wanted to take a break or learn how to do a DP on the player 2 side, so I just locked in with pure stubbornness. 138 resets to get one round. He was in front of me, behind me, in the air, in my face, stepping on my toes, sleeping in my bed, posing my figures, building my Legos, paying my bills, cooking me dinner, bringing me flowers, making me an Emperor of Shadaloo. I think this guy beat me so bad I got Stockholm Syndrome thinking he's super rad now.
For you, the day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
I don't recommend anyone with my level of skill or lower attempt what I did. After almost 2 hours with 196 free sets, I beat Bison. Relief washed over me. Giving my all, it was fulfilling. I would have said the Storm Arena Sagat is fine. Most people who picked this up would be more than happy, but I made this figure way more special to me on my own. And now it's become far more valuable to me because of it. Because I didn't just beat arcade mode of Street Fighter Alpha 3 on the hardest difficulty. I beat the arcade mode of Street Fighter Alpha 3 on the hardest difficulty with Sagat. Sagat, that's the homie now. No one's got me like Sagat's got me. And I'm always going to remember that. Have fun with your toys.